NERF Rival isn't done yet. It feels like it's been a lifetime since we've actually had a NERF product to review, and we were actually kind of excited to open it because this is the new NERF Rival Challenger. And I think you can see why we would be a little bit more than enthusiastic for this one because it looks freaking awesome. And while NERF Rival releases have slowed down quite a bit, this is a NERF Rival Stryfe, and believe it or not, we haven't exactly had a NERF Rival Stryfe yet. We've had mag and grip flywheels, we've had no mag flywheels, we've had mag going in the side of it like a maniac flywheels, and of course dozens of hopper options, but never one with a standard magazine in front of the grip. And let's be clear, NERF made a bolter. You're gonna see a lot of bolters coming out of this one. Most accurate NERF Rival rounds. Motorized semi-auto blasting. Yes, this is a semi-auto blaster. 4 tactical rails and basically no attachments to go on them because NERF has made like 3 for NERF Rival. Carabiner clip, trigger lock. Rev trigger, 12-round removable magazine compatible with most standard NERF Rival magazine fed blasters. And yes, it's kind of weird when NERF uses proper terminology. And this thing is really dense, and what you might not have picked up on is that's a really thin blaster. Comes with 18 rounds, and it cost me a grand total of $35. And I picked this one up from Target, but it's gonna be available pretty much everywhere. Taka! Tora! Bata! All right, I have to know, is this actually a Nerf and Strike muzzle attachment point, or is it just Hasbro being Hasbro? Because it looks like one, but the box doesn't say anything about it. And obviously there would be no attachments that would fit on it yet. It's goofier in person. That is like thinner than a Stryfe, and it shoots Rival. Okay, I'll dig the rounds out in a bit. I gotta deal with this one. That is, oh my God, it's dressed up like Homer Simpson. All of the fancy stuff, flat. That is a chonky grip. It's pretty darn comfortable. As you can see, it tapers upwards nicely. That's pretty good. All right, so I know you really want this to be, and I'm gonna ruin it for you. That's just a design. There is nothing on this piece that locks the part in like a typical N-Strike muzzle attachment point. It's just there to look cool. Touche, Hasbro. I also really hate the fact that I've paid more attention to this because like I really love how they did this negative space. I mean, I think everybody loved the look of this thing when it was first shown off, and yet take like this yellow piece right here, it's only on that side. This thing is very not symmetrical, and that will probably bother you because it sure as heck bothers me. Jam clearing door, some massive flywheels in there, and yet another cool thing about this blaster is it takes 8 AA batteries. That's a lot more than normal for NERF. I'm really excited to see how this thing performs. Tactical rail, got this kind of whatever you would call this. It's cool. Oh, they did. Oh, it is a carabiner. So you can clip this onto your gear, put some kind of strap on it. That is awesome. Big paddle mag release. It is really like high. I don't know if you can notice how high up this is, but that's because of the big old flywheels with Rival. And our magazine looks like that. That is the thing. It does have a rubber bumper right there, so if you do drop it, it should protect itself. Yeah, it's a Rival mag. I mean, it is so awkward. I mean, it looks cool, but that is really weird. Oh, hey, we've gone back to plastic packaging for the rounds. I thought you were trying to avoid that as much as possible, Hasbro. I am very happy that they gave us 18 rounds, even though the magazine only holds 12. I really wish they would have given us 2 mags, because let's face it, you're probably never gonna buy these mags separately, and if you had a straight mag, it's gonna be like horrible to use. I'll have to try to find one. So if you do the math on this one, 8 AA batteries is double the performance you normally get with most blasters. Not all, but most. I mean, a standard NERF Stryfe uses 4 AA batteries, which is about 6 volts. Challenger uses 8. And I'm expecting some pretty good performance out of this piece, so brand new Duracells. Doesn't sound all that much different. It is moderately well balanced though for what it is. 12 NERF Rival rounds into our 12-round thing. I guess good news is it doubles as a melee weapon. Really solid, chunky feeling blaster, that's for sure. That felt feels really good to shoot. Question is, does it perform? Because from what I just saw, kinda. All right, let's measure the speed of the shots coming out of the Challenger through Freddy here. Freddy is a chronograph who measures the velocity of things in feet per second, or FPS. Typically, NERF Rival hits around 100 FPS, but normal NERF hits around 70 feet per second, obviously with standard Elite darts versus Rival rounds. I'm gonna let this thing rev up fully in between each shot, and we'll see exactly how good it's doing, and I expect pretty good stuff out of it, because it took a lot of batteries. 97.4. It just fired without me pulling the trigger, but that was 103. 96.8. 99.8. 93.9. 96.2. 98.5. And 100.6, so definitely up to the Rival standard, although there are Rival blasters that are flywheel that can hit harder than that. Things like the Perseus and the Prometheus have way more power than this thing does, but that is a perfectly acceptable velocity for the Challenger. Now to run the Challenger through the targets, but this time I actually have a sight for it, because I do own one of the Rival pinpoint sights. All right, 10 shots, higher score better. Let's see what we can do here. Oh. Okay, there we go. $39. Oh, okay, 43. And one last run, gonna be as slow and steady as I can be. $35. So, not the most accurate thing ever. Normally, Rival isn't very much meant for pinpoint shooting. For close range, this thing's gonna dump truck people, though, because that is definitely more than accurate on a person-sized target. Putting over the chronograph, the Rival Challenger gave us around 100 FPS, a little bit under on an average, and it could hit a little bit hotter because it is a flywheeler, but that was still acceptable for what it's supposed to be. And when it comes to accuracy, it's not exactly a game changer in any sense of the word, but it is a semi-auto mag-fed dump truck of a close range thing, which is what Rival is really good for. I really like the fact that this is semi-auto. We have a ton of full auto flywheel Rival blasters. This one being not one gives it yet another use. And honestly, there's a lot of ways this stock configuration can fit into your arsenal if you happen to use Rival a lot, and hey, you might as well support it while it's around, because they're down to about 2 or 3 releases per year for NERF Rival. The carabiner thing is cute. It's definitely useful, although for the blaster of this size and trying to unhook it from that carabiner, it can be a bit difficult. But if you had it on your gear somewhere, even kind of up high, it'd be really easy to just pick it up, rattle shots off, have it go limp, use whatever your normal primary is over it. It has a lot of tactical applications, it's just not the most practical thing in the world. And the rails are completely gimmicky because they're very wobbly, very loose, and there's barely any attachments for them. But the design is fantastic. I love whatever this little hitch at the front is supposed to be. It really sings to me. What's really exciting about the Challenger is, of course, what it has in store for its future, because it is a Rival flywheeler, and historically those are incredibly easy to modify, and seeing as how this has a mechanical trigger and is basically a Stryfe, it's even already loaded up for 12 volts, so yeah, 3 solder connections and it's pretty much good to go off of a 3S LiPo. And there's 2 ways I think some major modifications for this blaster can go. If you're running this for HVZ, you can definitely just get like a normal like proton pack configuration, something with a big container that would blow a bunch of rounds right into a magazine well, and have a semi-auto proton pack, which would be really, really overpowered for HVZ, because you can spam off shots as fast as you can pull the trigger, and yet you have nearly unending capacity with instant refills. If you wanted to use this thing for more of a PvP application, well, there's no reason why you couldn't shove some kind of full auto pusher in there and make this thing dump truck rounds as fast as possible while still being mag-fed. But I think it's the HVZ spec that sings to me more about this blaster. I think that's the way I want to go with the Rival Challenger here. It doesn't do anything brand new. If you have no use for a semi-auto Rival flywheeler, this is not going to change your mind. If you want one for collections purposes, 35 bucks isn't that bad. If you want one because you're curious or you think it's gonna be fun, then it's also at that price point where, yeah, you'll probably do with one or two of them. Dual wielding these for 70 bucks, I mean, not the most attractive thing to dual wield because it's so asymmetrical, but it is pretty cool. And overall, the quality on things, even like the magazine, it's pretty decent, especially for what new Hasbro has been giving us. The biggest miss, I think, of the entire thing is the fact they made this look like a muzzle attachment point, and it clearly is not. Do it, Hasbro, you cowards! So, honestly, super solid entry to NERF Rival. One of the better releases in NERF Rival, in my opinion. It's one of the things that consistently Hasbro has been able to do okay. And with it being a Rival flywheeler, I have a feeling you'll be seeing lots of mods coming out for this thing. But I mean, seriously, it's the NERF Rival bolt gun.